Campos Mentes is having full control of one's mind. Okay? And that is something that is on the path of alignment for everyone, because whatever your mind has already downloaded. The problem is, though, why people get out of alignment is because Good evening, Star Peoples. I'm your host, friend, and life coach, Mrs.Divine, and I bridge the gap between intuition and intelligence by giving you the tools for alignment. Okay? So the tools for alignment, when I say alignment, what am I talking about? Alignment looks different for everyone, right? So what alignment looks like for a doctor is going to be different from what alignment looks like for a life coach. Okay? What alignment looks like for someone who is a loving person is going to look different from someone who is a violent person, okay? So alignment is different for everyone. My path of alignment, what I see alignment as, what alignment looks like for the vibration I'm flowing with, is one of Campos Mentes. Campos Mentes means Campos Mentes is having full control of one's mind, okay? And that is something that is on the path of alignment for everyone, because whatever your mind has already downloaded. The problem is, though, why people get out of alignment is because we are under mass hypnosis. Mass hypnosis. If you want to know what's going to happen in many people's futures, turn on the television. Check out what the most popular things are with the most viewings, okay? The most viewings, because once you view it, it is something you are now helping to manifest into reality, okay? There's I like to take stances and not watch what everyone else is watching at the moment, right? So like Squid Games, haven't watched it. Probably won't watch it. Matrix 4, I doubt it. There's just certain things when you realize the power you have and what your mind does the minute it sends these images and views something, then you realize whose game you're playing when you watch something and what game you want to play. Okay? So one of the shows that I have not watched, because I watched half of an episode, and I said, this is absolutely something I would not want to see happen, but it's already happening. It was so realistic that I was like, like we're not even gonna make this normal, like just to watch something like that and be able to see it, but other people don't see it. So if you say that's actually happening right now, they're like, that's not true. Not to that level, not to that degree. And it's like, but it is. It's just, So anyway, because they're still unaware, they are helping to manifest it and create it without any control of what they're doing. But anyway, so I watched the first season finally, and I was just laughing because so many people have viewed it, and this is actually what they're getting ready to do. And people can't see. People are what they're starting to do is, even if they're looking at like, oh man, that's crazy, whatever, their minds are starting to play out scenarios, okay? Like, you got money? Okay. Go find it. It's in your room. So people are already starting to look at these situations and say like, okay, well, if that was me, I would have just deleted it, or whatever the case is. Or if that was me, I want this memory to play back over and over again. They're starting to help progress the thought out, which then helps to project the future. Even when it comes to ideal situations. For example, many of y'all block people now. When you're mad at somebody, I blocked their number, I blocked them on my social media, they can't access me. Y'all block people. And of course, there's ways around it and stuff like this, but if you look at Black Mirror, you're going to realize that blocked means blocked. There is no way around it unless the person who blocked the person is no longer there. And so then there's nothing to really block them from besides old things. There's no interaction. But anyway, a block, like they show on Black Mirror, right? It looks better than any block we could have ever imagined at the state that we're in right now. When it comes to, you don't necessarily say, you don't know if you ever just don't want to see that person more, so you don't want them eliminated, right? But blocking them, keeping them completely out of your life, that was something that they showed at such a degree that it seems like the ideal that we all mean by when somebody says that they are blocking someone, right? And that blocking that they did there looks better than the blockings that people get even when they have restraining orders on people, okay? So the media has a way of capturing our consciousness by having us view things, and the more control you have over your mind, the more you can see what it is that you're viewing and what's sending out. Also, the more control you have over your mind shows the capacity you have for manifesting, how quickly it can happen. And so when you realize that, you realize on many different levels how you're manifesting almost everything that you're viewing. Almost everything that you're viewing. And the thing with manifesting is the fact that you can perceive it, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's yours or it's happening directly to you, but it's something that you are able to perceive in some kind of way. Okay? So this brings me back to everything has a rhyme and reason. It's reason for me. So when it comes to my reasoning with this, one of the reasonings that came across to me was the fact that many of us are following other people's consciousness, okay? That's why when you go on Instagram and YouTube and stuff like this, they want to know how many followers you have, right? Because you're following someone else's consciousness. My message today is to follow no one's consciousness but your own, okay? Into it, right? We have these followers when we're on YouTube, when we're on Instagram, and these are how people are, getting our messages, whatever that may be. Who are you following? Okay? And so on YouTube and stuff, there's people I watch on YouTube, there's people who I think are really good at explaining things, there are people who I love to see speak, whatever the case is. I am watching their channels because their channels and mine are interacting in a way that is going to continue me on my path of mastering my mind, okay? Having control over my mind, complete control. When you start to get conscious, right? You start to get conscious, you realize how much it is utilized, this tool of hypnosis, okay? The only hypnosis that the only hypnosis that aligns with compos mentis, having control of your own mind, is the one of self-induced hypnosis, okay? So hypnosis isn't bad just because it's something that's happening, but that's happening to people. It becomes something that's people don't tend to want when they realize that they have been thinking that they are aware, they have been acting and moving and being, people or whatever the case is, and they thought it was because that's just, how life went, not realizing that they were being mind controlled, okay? When you start to wake up to the fact that mind control is a real thing and it's happening, and that it's a useful tool to know how to do for yourself, because it's like you're controlling yourself to go after and stay on, the path that you're on, the path of evolution, whatever that may look like. But when you realize that it's being used to do all these things that are happening that many of us don't even want to happen, to shape our lives in ways we don't want to happen, then you realize the issue that comes with things like following someone, watching certain TV shows or YouTube things, any kind of videos. Just the certain things that we put our energy into, and viewing is like the number one. That one is like you can close your eyes and still view. Like viewing is happening all the time. So with that being said, I want to know, what kind of consciousness is your consciousness? Okay? I don't want you to necessarily respond to me in the comments or anything like that. I mean, I want to know because it's you and I. You want to know, okay? So this is important for us right now. Is what kind of consciousness is your consciousness? I'm saying that because just because you're conscious and you call yourself conscious doesn't mean that you identify with being woke, okay? Just because you're woke, that's just because you're woke doesn't mean that you identify with all the things that they say woke people, say and do. Just because you're conscious or becoming more aware doesn't mean that you are a witch, okay? It could mean that you're a witch. There are some witches who are in consciousness. Just because you're conscious doesn't mean that you are limited by astrology, okay? Doesn't mean that you even care about what planet is in retrograde and if it's 12 zodiac signs versus 13 zodiac signs. Or if you should hang out with this person not because they're in Aquarius and that's how Aquariuses are compared to a Capricorn. That kind of stuff might not matter to you just because you're conscious, okay? And just because you're into astrology doesn't mean that you're conscious, okay? Could mean that you're getting up into conscious, but doesn't mean that you're conscious. Just because you do tarot cards doesn't mean that you're conscious. All conscious people don't do tarot cards, okay? Just because you're a vegan doesn't mean that you're conscious. All conscious people aren't vegans, okay? Just because you're conscious doesn't mean that you are a conspiracy theorist, okay? And just because you are a conspiracy theorist doesn't mean that you're conscious, okay? So what we end up doing is we end up labeling ourselves when we are on our passive alignment, finding consciousness. We end up identifying with something or someone or some topic or some theory. And some of us who, again, are on their path of consciousness, but haven't quite come to the level of awareness where they're able to spot certain programs that are there to hypnotize us and put us back under. And so they're not able to quite spot that. But when they're not able to quite spot that, they're able to fall into the same patterns but at a higher level, okay? So they're able to fall into a higher level. And we end up being able to be people or beings who are programmed. Again, when we're on our path of alignment, if we are not able to recognize that the label itself carries energy, okay? And as you're rising to consciousness, powerful minds are there, okay? Powerful minds are there, just as powerful minds are there at the an opposite end of the spectrum, okay? So when you have powerful minds that are there, that's powerful energy that is there. So if you attach yourself to that label of something that you're discovering, I'm coming into, consciousness. I'm conscious, and I'm going to start practicing with crystals now, okay? If everything I do about crystals, everything I learn about crystals becomes something that I limit and border around myself, then that is going to be something that can actually hold me back if I don't realize that this is just one aspect, okay? I don't realize that this is a tool. Everything you learn in consciousness becomes tools for you. They are not needed for you when you have full control of your mind, but they are tools for you, meaning if you see how this can serve and benefit you, you utilize it. Meaning if you find yourself in a level of consciousness that you are rising from or you want to evolve from, you know how to utilize these tools to help get you there if you haven't figured out, unlocked it yet inside of you, okay? So when you realize that all these things are tools, then you are not limited. If your consciousness gets tied to a powerful type of consciousness that is out there, such as, let's give another tool, which is astrology, right? Then you start to limit yourself and only act and move according to the stars, okay? According to the planets, okay? You're limiting your power because you don't realize that these are all things that can help you, but they aren't the source of your power. They're not. They're not the source of what you can do. They're not the end all be all. They give us a lot of clues and a lot of information, but they are not the end all be all, okay? If you feel as if your day is going to go a certain way because you read your horoscope, okay, you are limiting yourself, because even if those things did happen that they say, there's so much more you can do within that situation, or over that situation, or that situation can transform into because of you. But if you limit yourself to someone or something else, and what was given to you, then you're saying that you're living in these confines, and that becomes the issue, because you cannot find your path of alignment to compos mentis, to complete control of your mind, if you are stuck in a level of consciousness that limits you. And that simply means becoming closed-minded or narrow-minded, okay? That simply means feeling as if, okay, I'm going to, and I'll tell you the reason why too. The reason why this becomes an issue is because our spirituality has been studied, okay? So just how you're on your path of finding alignment or getting into alignment and gaining full control of your mind, there are forces that don't want that to happen, right? Because you benefit others. You really benefit others when you are not able to follow your own path, okay? Because if I want to open a burger shop and y'all don't know how to do that, y'all need some money, y'all need to pay bills, I'm going to hire y'all to work at my burger shop, okay? And then you're going to say, oh yeah, what she's doing is good for me, and it's all good for each other. But really, it was me who needed you guys, okay? So now you're under my energy, my limits and stuff for how you're going to do what you said you need to do, okay? You limit yourself in that, because you could actually have your own idea that, oh, she's opening a burger shop, I'm going to open a mall, okay? And maybe her mall could be a chain. Maybe my mall can have one of her burger shops up in there too. All right, you get what I'm saying? So you can be bigger, you can think bigger, you can do more, you can evolve more in consciousness if you allow yourself to move through consciousness. Okay, when our spirituality is studied like it is, it knows the different tools we use for consciousness. It knows the different avenues and stuff that we can go when it comes to consciousness, if it's already been something that our ancestors have done in the past, right? So we're learning about what our ancestors have done so we can break loose, but at some point it's going to get to what we are doing, okay? Not what our ancestors have done, but what we need to do from this point up, okay? So if you learn astrology, and we have already been studied where they know what spiritual tools we're going to be using, then hypnosis has been placed at some kind of level in that, even if it's just the mindset. Hypnosis a lot of times is exactly that, a mindset. Where you're stuck in hypnosis is a mindset. So it's a mindset of hypnosis for someone to be involved in astrology. Why? Because depending on where you're at, you're taught astrology different, right? And no matter where you're at, no matter how you're taught astrology, you're going to learn more and more and more. And at some point, you're going to run across some information that is very valid to other people, but that you have not been taught in your studies so far. And you have been so on top of this tool of consciousness that you have changed certain aspects of your life about it. There are certain people you don't hang out with, certain things you don't do, won't do, certain people who you naturally are going to talk to depending on, their birthday and how compatible they are with you and stuff like that. And then you realize that if you're learning this new concept, it's actually something that's going to make you question why you ever did some of the moves you made, what you could have been missing out on, what could have changed, what could have been different. Why? Because you found out that now there are actually 13 zodiac signs. For real, there's information about this. But that means that I'm not a Capricorn. Okay? But it was all true when I was saying the things that, Capricorns are compatible with this person, because I was really compatible with this person, and you're gonna, all this reasoning is gonna come through. The ultimate reasoning has to be the fact that, not has to be, but the ultimate reasoning that benefits you on your path of alignment, whatever that may be, is having an open mind. When you have an open mind, you can travel through consciousness. You can expand. You can evolve. If you have a closed mind and want to stick to a program, you want to stick to an identity, you are Mrs. Divine awakening the astrologer. Okay? Y'all come to me and y'all get all types of readings from me based on your birthdays, right? What house is this planet in and stuff like that, right? And then I find out some information and realize that what I was doing changes the ball game when I found out that there are now 13 zodiac signs instead of 12, and there might be more. Okay, so how am I going to be ramped? What am I going to do? Am I going to ignore the information and say, no, well, this is what I'm sticking to, this is what works, this is for me? No, it came across your path of consciousness for a reason to say, are you willing to grow? Are you willing to even open this door, go down here, and get the evidence you need safely, if it's something you should be doing, to determine what your truth now is when it comes to having complete control of your own mind and not allowing yourself to be limited, okay? So, all these things are important because when we come into consciousness, others are going to start thinking that they know you, okay? They know how to approach you. They know how to come at you. So these things happen with consciousness in the conscious community. There we go. These things happen in the conscious community as well, okay? Many people can walk up to me and, let's see, they see my on my earring, right? And walk up to me and say, Grand Rising, right? I'm going to respond well to that because I Grand Rise people too. I Happy Rise people. But then they may also say something, that they feel a woke person might say, right? So that could be something about race, Black Lives Matter, you know. It could be something about, natural hair. You know, it could be so many different things because if you look at the category of woke and what's that mean, a lot of people look at that as the same thing as consciousness, right? But it's not. Anytime there's a label on something, people tend to throw in the traits and personalities that these types come with. Even when we say consciousness, that's just a loose term, right? Because we're not just conscious, we're growing in consciousness. So, but it's a loose term because if somebody considers themselves conscious, people look at that a certain way. They're going to assume that you're a vegan. And if you're not a vegan, they're going to assume that you're a vegetarian. And if you're not, they might look at you side-eye. They're going to assume because you're conscious that you do, shrooms, right? And all these other psychedelics. They're going to assume that if you're conscious that you meditate. They're going to assume that if you're conscious that you could be a witch or you do some kind of spells or something, right? So people will start to try to read you because that's what this world is set up to do, right? It's set up to read you, analyze you, and be able to push you out to potential people who you can buy from. It pushes you out as a consumer to something. Okay, so now your ads and stuff, because you watched this video, are going to be, I don't know, maybe about crystals. Okay, you're going to have ads on crystals. Or you're going to have ads on some kind of, jewelry, some kind of spiritual jewelry. Okay, you might have some natural hair type of videos show up in your feed. It's going to start to read you and say, oh, they are, they also like this. And so the problem with that comes in is that you must always be changing. You must always be changing where you cannot be placed in one of these categories. You can't be considered woke. You can't be considered a witch. You can't be considered conscious. Because, you can. Conscious. Okay, so you can't be considered conscious because they realize consciousness is growing, right? And so able to read our minds that way. And not even read our minds. Put things into our minds. So they're able to, it's like fake fortune teller reading. They're able to predict what you're going to do because they have already suggested all these things, right? And they see what's being suggested, okay? Because you're a frequency. They're able to read your frequency. So what you want to do is you want to get to the point where you're vibrating so high that they can't get your frequency. Or even if they picked up your frequency is something that they haven't yet, gotten around to. Okay, that's what you want. You want to continue to grow in that sense. Why? Why? Because although others will be trapped into the realities of things that you can foresee. For example, the metaverse and the Black Mirror type stuff, right? Whatever they are viewing, whatever the masses are viewing, is something that they're most likely going to be experiencing, okay? But that, if you're in control of your mind, it's not something you're going to be experiencing, especially not on that level, okay? On that level at all. And you're able to see and know how to operate when things are turning to help manifest the reality that they're all viewing and excited about and wanting to see, right? You're able to see when what aligns to what, and then know your path of alignment, okay? And this is really important. This is really important. And so a lot of you watching this is probably going to say, oh, another conspiracy theory, right? Or depending on which viewer we have watching today, because other ones will see exactly, this is exactly true. And some who are like me before, as I was growing in consciousness in my earlier stages, although it was something I can hear somebody say and say, that's absolute true, I needed facts, I needed proof, right? I needed facts and I needed proof. And so that's what I'm going to do today in this video. So in this segment of Peep Game, I'm going to be giving you what I know as a student of sociology, okay? Because I have a degree in sociology. So as a sociologist, someone who has studied this kind of stuff, there's a theory called structural functional theory, okay? And in structural functional theory, it's talking about how, it theorizes how to keep a society stable, okay? And I'm going to show a picture of it so you can have an image of what I'm talking about. So it shows how to keep a society stable. And you keep a society stable by giving the society things to attach to, right? So they have rituals, things such as, birthdays, marriages, graduations, things like that. They have economy. They have family, attached to family, education, and faith. And some other ones say that like the criminal system or jail or like laws, rules, and regulations are in it. But inside of each one of those attachment points come structure, right? Come structure where someone's able to follow all these rules and ways to be, they can be satisfied or complete that area of their life, that point of attachment for the society, right? And so if I'm saying this is for a stable society, what happens? If something happens to the family, that can mess up society, okay? If something happens to education, that can make society something that is no longer stable. It can make it shaky. It can cause an uproar. Lots of people are mad about this, or lots of people feel this way. There's a public opinion about this, a public opinion about that, okay? So this is society, right? So why is this important for you? Because you, when under mass hypnosis, feel as if and move as if you are society. You forget that you are you. And what shakes up this plan of structural functionalism is the you factor, okay? Many people who are mentally associating themselves with a society, and on top of that, a functional society, are not living their own truths. They're not in alignment with who they truly are. They're in alignment with what is being fed to them through mass hypnosis, which is the functional society, okay? And so when they are living life like this, they may feel happy when they get married and have kids, okay? They may feel happy or a sense of accomplishment when they get a certain job, okay? They may feel happy when they go so far in education, right? Like I said, this is what my college degree is in. See, these are things I felt proud about before. But as you hit these areas of attachment and you excel in them, at some point your conscience is going to say, there is more to this. This circle I'm going around and around on like a hamster wheel is becoming dull. It's becoming unfulfilling. Okay? And so what shakes up this structured, functional type of society is the you factor. When you realize that there is more to life than these attachment points that they have given you. And even if these attachment points that they have given you are something that you know, okay, well, it is a strong point, right? These are strong points that many of us are going to have in our lives. You realize you can do it different. You can do it in a way that's more in alignment to you, okay? And then that's when the fun begins. That's when you start to be able to design your life. Problem goes, though, is as you start to design your life, it's going to look very different in most cases from the life of those who are under strong hypnosis, because they are in this functional society, okay? They're trying to keep society stable, even if it goes against their own best interest, even if it goes against the best interest of their family, okay, at a larger scale perspective, even if it goes against the best interest of certain groups that they have found when they were in these institutions, such as church or college. You know, you're going to start thinking differently than these people. You're going to start thinking differently than the structure that everything is under right now, right? And so the you factor is the wild card. The you factor can shake things up so much that society, although it may still be functioning, it's not going to be predictable. Okay, it's going to be like this radical, right? How can we capitalize on a situation if we can't predict it? We don't know it. We don't know what's going to happen, right? So the power actually comes with all of us being like these radicals, right? Because at the end of the day, we see we can all coexist because that's what we're doing. So what happens is that within the structural functional theory is that the person merges from being the you individual to society, and they start to operate and move as society instead of operating and moving as themselves, okay? The minute they tune into operating from the version of themselves and not society is the minute that something goes off with society for them. So this person may not be happy anymore in their marriage. They might not be happy anymore with children. Or having to raise children, you know, realizing that, oh, I actually wanted to be a dancer, and I had to put all that to the side because I'm raising children. You know, that doesn't really work for that. This person might not be happy in their job. Okay, this person might not be fulfilled anymore in that religion. These are things that start to happen, and then what happens? A person realizes that they are in a relationship with themselves. They realize that something is not right within them and within their spirit. Okay, so then their attention turns inward to themselves. The you part, the you radical, right? And society, the structured society actually becomes a issue or the problem, because it's a pattern that you are feeling as if you need to jump back into, but you can't, because that is so different from you and what you need at this moment, at this level of consciousness. Okay? And it is at that point that we normally get our clients as life coaches. It is at that point when the person realizes that the stable society member that they were is no longer who they actually are. Okay? They're realizing that something's off and they need to fix it. And a lot of times they think fixing it may be something that they're lacking from one of the categories. Okay? Maybe they always wanted to have children and they don't have any right now, so they feel like they're lacking. And that's what's making them face themselves. Okay? And it's at that point that you realize where your consciousness needs to grow at. And then you see how your consciousness can grow. Talking to a life coach helps you to do that, and helps you to see where your energy exchanges need to happen at. Okay? Here's an example of this from a live coaching call. So I just want to share a story with you, and I asked for a reason. I'm glad I asked. Like you, I went to college. I got the government job that had benefits and pay raises every year, good insurance, all that kind of stuff. Got the husband, the house, the kids, I got all that, all the American, right? And then at 28, I realized that having all these things simply didn't feel fulfilling. I would think, okay, well, when I get that job, okay, then I got that job. Okay, when I have the baby, then I have the baby. When I get this, and it was like what I set my eyes on, I got that. And when I got that, I realized that I had been living a dream. I had been going after the American dream, which had actually been someone else's dream. I had no clue. And I realized this at 28. I had no clue what I actually wanted in my life. And the degree I got a degree in sociology. So I was studying psychology and sociology. And essentially what I wanted to do was be a psychiatrist. Going through the process, I realized what it was going to take to do that. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to go to medical school. You know, with the route you went, I wasn't trying to do all that.
Right.
So I ended up being a social worker, which was, I made sure I got a job along the lines of my degree and everything. But now I am exactly what I thought I wanted to be, which was to talk with people and help them, you know, find fulfillment in their lives. And I thought the route of that was going to be a psychiatrist, not realizing that they don't even do this, what I'm doing, you know, as a psychologist until they've had many, many, many years of practice and they are actually in their own practice. So I would have had to go through a lot before even getting to where I wanted to be, which is right here. But it was at 28 that I realized that the reason why I felt so unfulfilled is because I wasn't chasing my dreams. I was chasing what society basically said I should be doing. Okay. So what is it that you feel like you should be doing? Do you feel like nursing is it?
I have no idea.
Why nursing?
Because I felt like I kept landing here. Like, so when I first went to like in my senior year, you know how you go, you supposed to pick your colleges or whatever, your major during that period. And I actually didn't choose nursing.
Okay.
My counselor at that time, because I had chose to be an anesthesiologist. I told her I wanted to end up going to medical school. And she was like, oh, well, why don't you go to school for nursing because they have nurse anesthetists. They was like, you want to spend less time in school, you're going to still make good money, like just do that route. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking nothing of it. I went on to school. My first year, I went in for nursing. Long story short, I continued to fail classes. So it took me a long time. Like I graduated high school in 2011 and I'm just now becoming a nurse in 2021. So so I did at points like I did give up a couple of times. I would like stop going to school. At one point I ended up like changing my major altogether and graduated with something totally different. Well, wasn't that different? It was healthcare science. But then I was a CNA at the time too. So when it came down to, okay, I'm now done with school. I got my degree in healthcare science. It was like, okay, now what? So I'm looking into different like career options with that degree. And I couldn't find anything that was going to allow me to make the type of money that I wanted to make. So because of that, I was already a CNA. I wasn't getting the money that I wanted to make. So I decided, all right, well, I'm gonna just go back and go for nursing because I know that they make the money and I'm already a CNA. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do that. So that's how I landed back into nursing.
Okay. When you were saying that you basically were having a hard time in college, almost failing and things like that, what got you together?
So initially, I had failed a course. This is my first time going to school. I failed a course. This is my nursing course, and I ended up changing my major altogether. And then that's when I ended up graduating. But when I decided to go back to school for nursing, I still ended up failing classes. But I felt like at that point, like I was getting older and I really didn't have too much more time to waste. Because, like when you fail classes, like at least with the nursing program, like if you fail classes, they pretty much make you start that whole year over again.
Yes. You
And
wasted your time and money.
Exactly. So I was kind of afraid doing anything else because I was feeling the same way, like maybe they're going to make me start over again. they may say like, oh, well, this credit is not going to count for this
Mhm.
class, and just all these different things that would have made me stay in school longer. So I'm like, no, I gotta get out of here. Like I gotta like just go ahead, keep going, and hopefully I pass the next time. And I did eventually, but yeah, pretty much I think me getting older and me needing to like have a job, I think that's pretty much where it was at for me. Like it wasn't because I really wanted to do nursing.
Yeah, it sounds like you value your time, and you also financial freedom is something that you want.
Right.
Okay. So, do you have a pen and paper?
Hmm.
Okay. I want you to evaluate your life right now. We're going to get back to everything you were saying, but I just want you to really think about your life, because it sounds like to me when we're talking that you're going through the motions and you're not really calculating the bigger picture, right? It's like, what do I
Okay.
need now? What do I need now? And then you are making your next move based on what you need now, when it helps to have an actual picture or knowledge of where you're actually wanting to go, the big plan, so that you see that there are multiple moves you can be making and you don't just have to make this next move. Um,
Okay.
so for the first one, so we're going to do a scale of 1 to 10. 1
Okay.
meaning you're not satisfied at all. 10 meaning that you are super satisfied in this area. Okay. The
Okay.
first one is going to be family parenting. Rate yourself between 1 and 10, family parenting. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being super satisfied.
So I don't have any kids. You told me
Okay.
good parenting.
So then think about your family, right?
Okay.
Think about your relationship with your family, your parents, your sister, your siblings, if you have any.
Okay. Okay.
Next one is personal development. Personal development. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being very satisfied. Next one is spiritual awareness. Spiritual awareness. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being very satisfied. Next one is fun and enjoyment. Fun and enjoyment. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being very satisfied. Now, the next one is relationships, but this is going to be split into 2. The first one is your intimate relationship. Intimate relationship. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being very satisfied. The second one being social relationship. Social relationship. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being very satisfied. The next one is your health. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being very satisfied. Your health. The next one is personal finance. Personal finance. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being very satisfied. Then we have your career or profession. Career, profession. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being very satisfied. And then your final one is breath awareness. Breath awareness, how conscious you are when it comes to your breathing. 1 being not satisfied, 10 being very satisfied. All right, and then that is it. That is it. So
Okay.
looking at we call this a wheel of life. So they just break your
Hmm.
life down to different parts that we don't normally look at on a day to day, because we are going through the motions most of the time.
Hmm.
So what was your highest level of satisfaction? Which part?
Spiritual awareness.
Okay, and what did you get for spiritual awareness?
6.
That's 6. And what was your lowest level of satisfaction?
breath awareness, and career professional.
Okay. Did you have any that were about the same?
I had health and personal development were the same,
Health and personal development. Okay. Okay.
and family and fun and enjoyment were the same.
That's interesting. Okay. Okay. So looking at this, we're gonna use what we would consider to be right now your um highest level of satisfaction for you in your life, which is going to be your spiritual awareness. Okay.
Hmm.
And for spiritual awareness, with your spiritual awareness of mind, really, I want you to keep it all in mind, your entire life, your entire essence, your being. I want you to list, or you can write it down, because everything we talk about, whatever you feel like writing down, write it down. But
Okay.
we're going to talk about this too, though. Let me know your top three values in life. Top three
Okay.
values in life.
So you want me to write this down and tell you, or
Mhm. Yeah, after you write it down, go ahead and let me know.
okay? Okay. So happiness, family, and trust.
Happiness, family, and trust. Okay. So everything we talk about as far as what you like, if let's say that we get into you envisioning what your next step is going to be or whatever, or are you single, are you married?
Single.
Single. Okay. So even if you're talking about like if you're getting a relationship and things like this, these whatever your top three values are, if they're not being met, then you're not going to be satisfied. Okay.
Okay.
Something's going to happen to make you not feel a sense of fulfillment there, if these are not being met in some kind of way. So when you talk about your career right now, and you're saying that everything is going good here, everything is going good here. Um, are all of your values, which ones of your values are being met when it comes to what's happening right now with your career and in your life?
None of them.
None of them?
So you mean like where I'm at currently,
Yeah.
or this new
What are you,
job that I'm about to have? Okay, so where I am currently, no, none of them.
none of them. So you said yours again were happiness,
Hmm.
trust, and what else?
Family.
Happiness, trust, and family. And you said none of them are being, so none of them make, so this job, this current, where you at currently, what's unhappy about it?
So I'm currently a CNA, and I don't enjoy it. I go to do it because it pays my bills. Um, but that's pretty much it. Like I don't enjoy going to work every day.
The new position you were offered, what is that one?
That's a nurse position.
A nurse position. Okay. And with this nurse position, what would change in your life?
My financial status. I
Okay.
think also like the level of respect.
Respect. All right. What are your current hours right now as a CNA?
So I rotate. I do days and evenings, so 7 to 3, and then 3 to 11.
8 to 11. Okay. And then with this new job, what would be your current hours?
It will be 12-hour shifts, so it's 7 A to 7 P.
Okay. And so outside of respect and money, what would be the biggest change?
Though I guess like my whole new role. This is something totally different from what I'm doing. I mean, it's still in the health profession, but it's different.
Okay. And then what do you need to do? What do you feel you need to do to fit this role? Right? Because you're going to be required to do more and be
Hmm.
more, it sounds like.
Right.
So how are you going to have to transform uh, to fit this role?
I'm gonna have to learn the skills. Like I learned them in school, but it was just like just in order to pass like an exam. But
Hmm.
now going to work, like I'm gonna be able to doing it on like a real person on a regular basis. So yeah, the skills part is gonna be what I need to work on.
How confident are you that you can do that?
I'm not.
So you not being confident, that can play a big part in your happiness and what you even feel you can do with yourself in this new role. When do you start?
December 13th.
Number 13. I'm sorry, hold on, family, trust. So right now, what's coming up for me is the trust that you have in yourself about your capabilities. So you said happiness, family, and trust.
Hmm.
Happiness, family, and trust. Right now, like family is not really, I mean, it's important in this. And I feel like
Hmm.
eventually with nursing, things like that, if you decide to have a family and or children. Do you have any children?
No,
No. Okay, I didn't think so. That's what you said. I'm sorry. Yeah, you said no.
no, you're
Uh,
fine. Hmm.
so family is something that you'll have to make sure that it works out into there in the future. But right now, you're getting the happiness part as far as when it comes to this job, you're happy you passed. You're happy that you got offered a job so quickly and that you're getting more money. So these things you have some happiness in there. Um, but the trust part, you don't trust yourself. You don't trust
Okay.
yourself right now, and you don't trust the direction you're going in because you don't know. So then we have two questions to consider. Um, and those two are, where are you going? And where are you going? And how can you trust? And how can you trust yourself more?
Okay.
So where are you going? Where does it? I want you to. If do you mind? Do you meditate?
No, I've tried, but it doesn't work for me. I can't. For some reason, my attention span is so short. Like I can't do it for long.
Okay. When you say your spirituality is one of your highest ones, tell me about your spirituality.
So I'm Muslim, and we pray 5 times a day. That's like I feel like prayer is kind of what helped me to get through nursing school.
Okay, I agree. So I agree that prayer does help. Prayer definitely helps. Um, I'm a former Muslim, so that's
Okay.
cool. So
Okay.
I hear you saying when you talk about the 5 prayers a day, and you actually do your 5 prayers a day.
Right.
You do, and even with you going to be working your 12 hours, you're going
Hmm.
to be able to keep that practice up.
I'm gonna do my best. I mean, I would have to make up my prayers, but
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, I'm not perfect. There's been times where I've messed up where I might not have prayed, all the prayers in a day, but I do my
Hmm.
best.
Okay, so you know how to bounce through. Okay, okay. So are you okay with closing your eyes and visioning?
I can do that.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, so I just want you to get yourself relaxed, put your pencil
Okay.
down, and close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, I want you to focus on your breath, going and out, in, out. Now follow my voice as I take you into a deep breathing exercise. I want you to inhale all the way down to your feet. Exhale. Inhale deep all the way through your legs. Exhale. Inhale deep through your pelvis. Exhale. Inhale deep, sinking your breath through your torso. Exhale. Inhale deep all the way through your heart. Exhale. Now inhale deep and breathe through your hands. Exhale. Inhale deep from within your arms. Exhale. Inhale deep as the breath massages your shoulders. Exhale. Inhale deep, passing through your throat. Exhale. Inhale deep from your inner eye. Exhale. Inhale deep all the way through the crown of your head. Exhale. Now follow your breath back into your body and think about your life as a nurse. What does a typical day look like? What are you doing? And what do you see? How are you feeling? What is life like for you? Spend some time there, as much time as you like, and really get a feel about a life like this. When you're ready, you may open your eyes and tell me what you learned.
So I feel like I can do it, but I think that there's always going to be worry. I'm always going to be like analyzing the situations. I think I'm always going to be like second guessing myself, trying to make sure that pretty much like, I don't kill nobody. Um, I can see me being like, I don't want to say stressed, but I guess just worried like every day.
Okay. And I mean that's really honest. That's anyone who's in the medical field can probably attest to feeling just like you're saying. It's a huge responsibility because you have people's lives in your hands and people are depending on you. The doctors too, but you. So you're not alone. How are you currently handling things in life that bring up worry for you?
I just deal with it. I don't really have like an outlet. So
You don't have an out.
Yeah.
Okay. When was the last time you felt worried about something?
Um, I mean, I guess all the way up until I passed my boards.
Okay.
I mean, and you know what? No. Now too, I'm worried about if I might make the wrong decision in regards to choosing my nursing job because I was offered a position at the hospital that I'm currently working. But the thing is, from what I was told from another nurse, that basically their starting rate isn't as high as the rate that I got with the other position. And they'll also make me work a shift that I don't want to work. So I've been playing this out in the back of my mind constantly because the hospital that I'm currently working at, although they won't pay me as much or have me work in the shift that I want, they are a better hospital.
Mhm.
And then a lot of people are like basically saying like, because I work for Penn. So and the other, I'm not sure if you're familiar with those, but the other hospital is Roxborough. So everybody's saying like Penn is definitely better than Roxborough, which I knew that. However, I was going to go where the money was. I got student loans that's going to kick in, so the money is what was talking. Um, but I actually had a conversation today with my manager, and she mentioned that they actually would pay more. So I'm kind of like back and forth because I don't actually think that she knows for sure that they pays more. But that worries me because what if she is right? And even if she's not right, am I making the right decision by going to a hospital that I know is not as good as the one I'm currently working? And the one I'm currently working at, I pretty much like have a job, like, because it's going to be an easy transition. I'm already in their system. Like, it will be without a doubt, like, I'll have a job as a nurse if I accept it.
Okay. So you just unpacked a lot right there. Um, but before I dive into, oh no, okay, I'm gonna do it how it comes. Okay. So you're saying that the job that you're currently at, that they're also offering you at that same facility a job. You don't want to take it because of the money and the shift, right?
Mhm.
But you say that they're better or they're good compared to the other location. What do you mean?
So the other one is a community hospital. They have a
Okay.
lack of resources.
Mhm.
Um, the reputation is not as good as the one I'm currently at. The one that I'm currently at, it's a teaching hospital. You're going to get more experience. It is a resume booster. It's just an overall good hospital. They are like their reputation is a lot better.
Okay. And it's interesting because as you talk about the two different ones, I hear clearly which one your spirit is calling you to go to. But um I see where your focus is that is making you choose one or the other, right?
Mhm.
So money wasn't a concern. Which one would you be at? And why?
Mm. Why was it a concern? So the other thing too with this,
Okay.
so the one that I am currently working at, they want me, if I was to go with them, I would start in January. The other one would like me to start in December. I am like dying to get out of my current position.
Why is that? Because you're unhappy there?
Right. And I've been doing it for way too long. I've been doing it for like 8 years.
Okay. And so you have a month difference between them.
Say it again.
You have 1 month difference between your start date.
Right.
Okay. All right. So so again, if money wasn't an issue, which one would you choose and why?
I would choose the one that I'm at
Why?
because the fact that it's a better reputation. It will look better for me, like on my resume. Um, I mean, it will be super easy to go on into that position. I know the hospital. Yeah, I think that's it.
And those are all really valid reasons. And the one that stood out for me the most, which I think you did say, is the part about how easy it would be. Sometimes our choices are so easy that we don't see how that's the best option sometimes. Sometimes the easy road, it's like a trick. Like you feel like it has to be harder for you to go down that path. But it seems like the one that's more easy is always the one that has been perfectly placed for us in our path for a reason. I'm looking at or I'm listening to you and reviewing your habits in my head. And your habits are that you make the next move, um, because it's the next, you have to make a next move. Like you're going in the motion. You have to do something now. What are you going to do? And that's what it sounds like you're doing when you're choosing the other location. And that is your connection that heightens the worry. Um, Choosing the other place. Now, mind you, what I need you to remember is I'm holding this space so you can hear the perspective of a life coach. What I do is I listen to you and I bring back to you what you're saying so you can hear what you're saying. Okay. I'm
Mhm.
bringing to you what I'm pulling from you, what you're saying you do, and I'm showing it to you so you can review it and make your decision. Never make a decision based on what anyone else has to say. I never give advice, but I do bring to you different perspectives so you can clearly see what's in front of you, and that should help aid you into um, choosing the path that is more aligned to your journey. Okay. So
Mhm.
I'm saying all that to say is that you have a habit of choosing your next move based on a must do. And I'm choosing my words wisely, a must do. Um, what's coming to me is like uh, the uh, it's not desperation, but it's kind of like that. It's like the last, like I have to quickly make a choice now, like that. Like you have to move. And you kind of make your choices without really fully considering the bigger picture, right? And the bigger
Mhm.
picture here is that you're starting a brand new career. You've done all this work to get here. Um, Whether or not you feel confident is beside the point because you are good enough to get here. So the state is confident in you because you passed, okay? And you saw
Mhm.
what you had to do to pass. Whether you went through the motions or not, you can do it.
Okay.
And you do have, you really do have a way that you deal with worry, which is that you pray about it and you let it get figured out, right? You let Allah work and it figures itself out, right? So
Mhm.
you missed that earlier when you said you have no way of dealing with your worries because you do. You pray about it. And I'm sure you've been praying about this situation, okay?
Mhm.
Um, Based on your habits, your actions will point your habitual actions point you directly to taking this job that's offered to you for December because it's the next step. It's the now, right? That's your habits of making a decision based on everything you see in front of you right now and you feeling like you have to leave. You're not giving yourself the time and space that you need to really consider things in a bigger picture, maybe because you feel rushed or you're thinking about time, right? Time. Now,
Mhm.
time is an illusion, and that's something that we should keep in our head and remember on times when we really feel like we are crunched with time, like we have none. You have more than enough time and plenty of time. Okay. So it's a month's difference. It's 30 days difference for um, two things. Yes, you're going to have to deal with that shift that you don't want, right? That money
Mhm.
factor, that's in the wind. We're not too sure where that goes. I'm sure what they're paying you is still going to be better than what you're getting paid now, but
Mhm.
you don't even know if they can up the wages, right? Because you said maybe you're not too sure. But
Right.
your biggest thing that's causing you to not be able to really bathe in the happiness that is surrounding this whole situation, the fact that you finally here, you got offered a job right away, and that you're going to get a job that is going to change your career and boost your income, period. So you have all these things to be happy about, but you can't really sit and enjoy it because you're surrounded by worry as well. Your worry factor is increasing based on the fact that you know you're going somewhere that doesn't have the right resources. You're going somewhere that you said they don't have the right resources, and what else was it?
Um, they're what else I say? Lack of resources. They don't offer the same benefits. Like according to someone who actually used to work there, the benefits are horrible. I know where I currently work, the benefits are awesome.
All
Um,
right. So you're going somewhere that A doesn't have the right resources. Therefore, the if something does, you're worried about people's lives, right? And a lot of times these the things that happen in hospitals and things like that are because of resources versus lack of resources. And
right.
it can seem as if it's the fault that the finger should be pointing at the doctors and nurses and things like that. But the bigger picture is that actually they didn't have the resources to do what it is that they wanted to do or needed to do, right? And a lot of times people will fly, like I know, like babies, they'll fly them from one hospital to one that is more suited for them that has the proper resources. So you're actually
Yeah.
putting yourself, or you're thinking about, you're considering putting yourself in a situation where A, you don't have the confidence as because you're starting off new, that you can even do this. And then you're also thinking about the fact that y'all have sucky resources. And on top of all that, they don't even have the right resources for you as far as benefits, if for you in your life and your security. So you're not only just worried about you with your training and the resources for the clients or the customers, you're also worried about um, what it gives you in return. So that
Hmm.
option, although they're paying you more and they're giving you hours that I think you said you liked better than the other ones,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, that's the pluses it has going for it. But that doesn't do anything for the sense of worry that you have surrounding your new career. The current place that you're at, money seems to be an issue. And then what you saying, the thing about the dates, literally, it's a 1 month difference. And on top of that, you start that job in January. When it comes to taxes and everything is ready for that year, right? You start the other
Hmm.
job in December, you have to wait. I'm just saying this, you have to wait for taxes for that 1 month that you started a year before the new year began. I'm just saying that's just to say that it's literally a 1 month difference in the year. If you've
Right.
been waiting 8 years, what's eight
Yeah.
years, one more month? If it's going to be
Hmm.
something that gives you that sense of peace. But you starting off your new job, it's not like you to that you will fare better, that you will fare better in an environment where you were more confident because you are under you have the proper resources for one. And then I think you said something like they're practicing a training hospital where
Yeah. Yeah, teaching hospital. So
yeah, teaching hospital. So you know they're gonna, first of all, they know you're new. And second of all, they're gonna be teaching you as you go. So you're gonna have the guidance that you're looking for to help you build your confidence because brand new coming out the door, you're going to lack confidence.
right.
But
Right.
it seems like they have the right things in place to train their new nurses and doctors and to um kind of help give that support that people are going to need when they start off on these new careers. So these are some things for you to really consider before making this choice because, like you said, that's going to look good on your resume. Um, period. You didn't say anything about your resume for the other job. I didn't hear you say one
Hmm.
thing, and I'm saying this because right now what we're doing is we're looking for the bigger picture, your future. Meaning,
Hmm.
a lot of times you start off in one place, but that doesn't mean that that's the place you're going to end up. So if you think about the
Hmm.
big picture, you're going to want something on your resume, and you already put that on how it looks in your future. And so
Okay.
with all that to be considered, what is it going to cost you to choose this place that is asking for you in December?
I'm not sure.
I see it costing you your peace of mind.
If I choose the place in December,
Yes.
it was so you think it's gonna cost me my peace of mind because of like everything you said, the lack of resources,
Well, the
just
worry, the
yeah.
worry,
Okay.
because at that point, you're not just worried about, am I good enough? Because even if you are good enough, if you're somewhere where they have that resource and they're already looked at and perceived by maybe not just you guys who work there, but the
Mhm.
community as which place is the best one. All this, all these, the way people think about things, you understand that, right? You're not oblivious to it. So
Right.
it's gonna play into your own worries and your own fears, whether you
Okay.
like. So all things considered, what are what are the things that are standing out for you right now out of everything we just talked about?
My worry and what I need to do to, I guess, kind of ease that.
What else can you do to ease your worry?
I mean, you definitely help just kind of put things in perspective, um, in regards to both jobs. And then even what you saying, like I make my next move based on what I need right at this moment. That's true. Like I've heard something like that before, about my actions. So yeah, like I definitely believe that's true.
So what do
And
you
like
want
I
to?
said, like I'm oh go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Like I said before, I'm sick of being in the role that I have now. And that may be a reason why I'm like pushing to start this new job. Cause even like today when the woman was from my job was telling me that it's going to start in January, I'm just like immediately when she said that, I was just like, oh gosh, I don't want to start in January. Like that was my first thought is the time frame. Um, but nothing else though.
What can
Not
you do
all the
with that
good
extra
things about
time?
it.
I, during my assessment with my client, have them evaluate their life. That's what I do. You must evaluate your life. You must actually put the time and energy into thinking about who you are instead of who you are within all this structured, functional society that we have. Who are you? And where are you in this? And then once you do that, you're putting yourself as a you factor, the you radical, but you're putting yourself in that to be able to flow into the society that the society. The thing is that when you change the you factor, you change what society means and looks like to you. So it doesn't mean you will no longer be a part of it, but it does mean that it's going to serve you in a different kind of way. And you're going to see what doesn't serve you that may have served you before. Okay? So when you don't remove yourself from society often enough, then these times when your consciousness will naturally move you out of a stable society will be times that completely shake up your life or completely cause chaos until you realize it's something you need to deal with. Unless you start to remove yourself from society enough. When you start to do that enough, then you are able to see these things before these things can ever become a problem. You are able to see these things at such a degree where you are reinforced. It's like oh, a storm is going to come, and my drop top convertible top is down. Okay, if you are able to remove yourself from society enough, you would be able to go and reinforce the structure before anything happens. Okay, so oh, it's about to rain, and my drop top to my convertible is down. I'm going to go out and lift the top up and make sure my windows and stuff are up so my car is protected. That is the advantage that you get when you are out, when you voluntarily remove yourself from society and some of the practices and things. So, what does that look like? Okay, I'm going to give you 1 tool for alignment. What does that look like to remove yourself from society on a consistent base? That looks like meditation, guys. That looks like meditation. Why? Because in meditation, you are completely tuning out and you start to tune in. And so you're having that practice of doing that with yourself, okay? You're doing that with yourself every day or a couple of times a day, okay? So when you can do that with yourself, you see it when it's about to happen. You see it when it happens because it's just like you walked in the same room you've been to 100 times. You know what this means. Okay. Oh, it means it's time for a change. Oh, it means I need to evaluate or see, what it is I'm gonna do. Or it means that this is why I listened to that intuitive drop that came through, because it's making sense for what's happening right now. So when you remove yourself from society and the method you use is meditation, I can attest for meditation, that method, then you are able to flow through intuition. Okay, because you're able to hear that voice and connect to it from within and trust it and move in that direction, where you don't even have to think and plan, what am I doing, what's my next step. You realize how the flow you have been having was perfectly aligned to everything that is happening, whether it's in the society that's supposed to be structured and functional, or you're seeing the lack thereof it, and you are still protected. Your car is still protected from the rain of that storm that could be in effect. Okay. Meditation, I kind of treat it like any other hobby, or something I do to have a joyful time, right? So let's say that I play soccer. I will practice certain soccer drills or learn certain soccer tricks. I play cards. I will learn different card tricks, to do like that. So with me meditating, I have learned different exercises and techniques that some of them I come up with, and some of them that I just learned over the years to help me when it comes to meditation, or to just, play around in a hobby that I love to do. It's not even just a hobby, it's a way of life, but it's something I like doing, okay? And so one of the techniques that I use, I've never seen it being done anywhere else, doesn't mean it's not out there, but this came from me, y'all, is to time my consciousness, right? I time my consciousness to gauge my level of patience, okay? I time my consciousness to gauge my level of patience. Now, of course, these are tricks and stuff. These things do not limit you. It doesn't mean that this is how patient I am and, whatever, but it helps you to see that grow. It helps you to see the development of your patience, if this is what you want to do. So what I do is I will have a timer next to me, and I will close my eyes and go. When I go, I'm focused. I hit the timer, and I'm focusing on the pattern of my breath, in and out, however long that takes. Let's say that I say today I'm going to hold it for 5 seconds to release it for 5 seconds. That's what I do, but I'm following that pattern. This is what my mind is following. And of course, eventually, at some point, so when I'm doing that consciously, I'm being conscious, right? At some point, I would drift away into my other states of consciousness, and we'll forget all about the fact that I set out. My intention was to follow the consciousness of my breath, and I'll zone out, right? The minute I come back and I realize, I'm supposed to be focused on my breath, meaning the minute I come back into consciousness, I get up and I hit time. And I see how much time it took before I was able to go from consciousness to no longer to having to return to consciousness, okay? And so I won't know at exactly what point I lost consciousness, but I will know exactly what point I started and when I returned, okay? And then what happens after that is I do this again, but this time I'm doing my normal breath, right? This time I'm going to follow the consciousness of my normal breath. There is no holding it for 5 seconds if that's not normally what I do. And so I hit the timer and I follow my own breath, my normal breath, my natural breath. And the same pattern happens, right? At some point, you go from being conscious to being below conscious. And when I realize, I come back to consciousness and I realize that, oh, I'm supposed to be following my own breath, I hit the time. And then I'm able to look at that length of time, right? And just analyzing right there, you are able to have a comparison between your consciousness when you are consciously being conscious, meaning the programs that you are enforcing, saying, I need to change my finances, okay? I want to be happier in my finances, so I'm consciously doing things to become that. And then I'm going to see that in relation to my normal level of consciousness with that. So when I follow my normal breath pattern, I'm seeing that in comparison to the breath pattern that I prefer, okay? So that's going to come into play when it comes to something like the money, financial circumstance. I know when I'm consciously doing something to shift my finances into an area that's happier for me, okay? And then my regular, when I'm not consciously doing it, I'm going to be able to pay attention more to the times when, oh, there I am doing a great job at this, even without me thinking about it. And then I'm going to also see at times when, I could be doing this. I learned to stop doing this thing and to start doing this thing. I'm able to catch it more because I'm aware of my different flows. I'm aware of when I am consciously doing something and when I am doing something subconsciously, and I'm able to see how much consciousness I have brought into my subconscious. Okay? I'm able to see at what point that those started to merge, because when those merge is where the power is at. Okay? So that's a great exercise to use because it helps you to gauge your level of expansion when it comes to consciousness. So thank you for joining me today, Star Pupils. I hope you enjoyed this segment. This is going to be the new format that I'm going to be using, things like this, so you can really see my viewpoint. You can see a demonstration of me coaching, and then you can also see how this all is actually something that is being studied right now, today. Have a great day, Star Pupils. Bye-bye.